bars, and you can put your markers on top that way. So if you're not used to like looking at the numbers and knowing where your 8-bar sections are, you can use just an empty pattern to make that happen for you, okay? So once you've done that, you can go ahead and take this, and we're going to add another one. We'll shift click and drag it again here, and we'll add another one, add a marker at 3. Good. And then we'll shift click and drag again, and we'll add another one at 4. Then we'll shift click and drag again, and we'll add another one. And I think that's good, but we can go ahead and highlight the last 8, and we can just do one more just to be safe, but we'll call it end. So we know our track will not go past this point. So our track's going to be 1 minute and 30 seconds long, okay? All right, so we can go ahead and delete all these. You don't really need them at the time. But now we have our playlist all set up. Now we have sort of easy way to double click on these markers, and it will highlight each little section for us, okay? And we could rename these at any time by right clicking these markers, going to rename, and then you can rename it whatever you want. All right, so anyways, we'll double click on start marker here, and we'll just have that open here. And what we'll do is we'll make these lanes match our channels, okay? So I'll right click track 1, and we'll go to rename, and we'll click this drop down box, and we will see if it's here already. And if it's not, that's okay. We'll exit out of this if it's not showing up on the side here. Open up our channel rack by going to F6, or just clicking it at the top here. And what you'll do is right click this thing, right click your channel that says keys, rename, and just click OK on them, and do that for all these. Rename, OK. Don't rename them, just rename, OK them. And what this does is this kind of logs their color and name into like a hidden clipboard. And we can go to our tracks, and we can right click the track, rename, keys to match 2 is chords, rename, drop down box, chords. 3 is going to be pad, and then 4 is arp, and 5 is bass. Good. And then what we're going to actually do here is add a few more. So we might leave a little space right here, and then go down to the next, and we're going to right click, and we're going to call this one drums, and we'll give it a pretty color too. How about steel blue? Good. And then we're going to actually just go ahead and change the colors of all these. And however you're able to, whatever you want to do, just change a few colors underneath. Kind of give yourself a space where the drums will exist, okay? And we could actually probably put, clap, right click, hats. And we could right click, and we could put crash. Okay, and then we'll right click drums, and we'll just put kick. Make it a little bit more simpler for us. And then this one could just be empty. All right, now we have a layout set up, and we're looking pretty good. And this is all just to get you set up, So it does take a little bit of setup. And if you're not, if you'd like, you can save this as a template. Not exactly this, but whatever you do, save as a template, and it'll allow you to bypass all of what we just did, so you can hop right into the creation part of it, okay? But anyways, we're going to go ahead and create. So let's go ahead and go to our keys piano plugin, and we'll right click the piano plugin, and we'll go to piano roll. And this will open up our awesome piano roll, and we can drag this down if it's up, give us a little space. And then we will turn on the metronome by clicking this little button right here at the top, or hitting Control M on your keyboard. It turns it on or off, but you got to make sure you're focused on the playlist for it to happen. If you do it with the piano roll open, it will actually try to save a MIDI file. So keep that in mind. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and draw out some notes here on the piano roll. We're not going to be very complicated, so we're just going to keep it in the key of, let's do A. And we'll do just a A major, I guess. Not really, or I guess really A major. It's a minor, but. In fact, we'll just draw the bass notes out first. Alright, let's see. And then what we'll do is we'll just preview this out while we draw this out. So I'll hold Alt and then I'll right click. And I'm just gonna play it out, or you can just hit spacebar and play it to listen to. Oh, we need to go to pattern. That was my fault. Click pattern, make sure you're on pattern. And it's a little fast, so what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna just take these here and we're gonna drag them out a little bit further, and we'll have them start on the beginning of each of these little numbers. And we can always change this as we go, but right now we'll just start here. And then what we'll do is we'll hold Control on the keyboard and we'll click and drag over all of our MIDI notes, and we're gonna go to the edge of these, edge of one of them, and it'll all follow along, and we'll drag them to the end. And then you can hold Control and click anywhere on the piano roll and it'll deselect the notes, okay? So let's hear this again, hit play. We'll go up here to like D instead of E. And then what we'll do is we'll just add some, you just add basically your chords on top. I won't go too much into how to create chords or anything. There's plenty of things that kind of show you that, but we'll just kind of, we'll keep it very, very simple, okay? So that way, if you're following along, you can just input these notes. So we just added stuff on top, and basically I just followed. And this is a simple little chord progression. We just made it up. So we're going to see where it goes, though. The most important thing about building a chord progression is just know what your root notes are, okay? And then once you figure that out, you can do whatever you want here. But we're just going to keep it as simple as we possibly can so we don't confuse ourselves. So what I'll do is I'll control click and drag over all these, and we'll hold Alt on the keyboard here, and we're going to roll down the mouse wheel and bring these down a little bit. And then hit play and listen. Good. Now we have a chord progression going, and then with that we can use pretty much this to make our entire song, but we're going to make just a short little melody to put on top. So I will just input some notes here, and we'll just make something as short and easy as possible. And then we'll just add some notes on top. And then basically what I'm doing here is every bar is kind of having a little bit of information going on, and they all kind of hit at the same spot. So you kind of can imagine between 1 and 2, it's almost the same as 3 and 4 as far as like where the notes are positioned inside of the timeline. So we're just drawing a very simple melody for now, but as you get complicated, just know that you follow sort of a little pattern or rhythm, and then you get as more complicated as you want. But keeping it simple is the idea of making sure you don't lose your melodic kind of idea too fast, especially if you're newer, because you're gonna have a lot of things going on in your head. So sort of keeping the most simple, basic forms of those ideas there, where you can go back to and mess with, that will keep you on track. All right. do, do, do. All right. Alrighty. So, you know, everything is pretty much set, and we have a melody set with the chords. So now basically, once you have a chord line and you have a melody, you're ready to start basically sound designing, arranging, making your song. All right, your concept portion is basically figured out, and this is going to be the information that we work with to create the rest. Hugh James is followed. This your boy Gribble sending some love. Like how you explain everything so clearly. What is up, man? Gribble, how you doing, brother? Can't believe you out of all people I'd see you. Hey, man, it's actually awesome to see you, and I'm glad to hear you doing all right. Great name, by the way. Very cheeky, but I wouldn't expect anything less, so I know it's you. Okay, so let's get to what we're going to do here. Now we're going to go to our chords, and what we'll do is we'll mute this pattern 1, this piano here, by clicking this little light that says mute solo on it. And what this does is, so if you hit play, nothing's going to make any sound because we've actually muted our keyboard, okay? But what we want to do is go ahead and open up the piano roll on our FL keys, and we're going to just take the chords itself and not the melody. So I'm going to go ahead and control click and drag over all of these chords that we've created, and you're going to hit Control C on the keyboard, or you can go to Edit, Copy. Same thing. Good. Got a 5-week-old girl in my arms. Aw, that's so cute. Congratulations, man. Congratulations. What's the name? What is her name? All right. Now we're going to go ahead and sound design our 3x OSC chord here, and what we'll do is we'll be really cool with it, because we're not gonna do too many hard things about like trying to design it, but we're gonna make it a saw. So these are all different like waveform types that you can use, and if you don't know much about those, just let me know. We could talk more about it as well. Once you figure it out, they're not too hard, but if you don't know, then you know, it's no problem to explain that more in depth. Just leave a comment for me, and I'll get that later on. So we're going to go ahead and go select 3 saw waves. So one's going to be the saw, 2, 3. It's going to be a saw, okay? And we'll bring these volume envelopes here, which is these mix levels at the far right-hand side. We're going to bring these both up to about 50%. And then the coarse pitch here on 3, which is this big knob here in the center, we're going to go ahead and turn this up to about 24, maybe 24 or 12. We can adjust these as we go, but just know that these are like octaves. So every 12 notes is an octave, you know, like every 12 numbers, 12, 0, 12, 24, 36. You know, it's pretty much all these are always going to translate across the same across all of your sound design plugins or anything that has to deal with pitch. So don't be too confused by the numbers. Just know, like, they're for you to fine tune the actual pitch of the tone that you want it to be. Anyways, and we'll also turn this down here, and we're going to play this and start editing this as it goes, just to kind of do what we can. So, first though, oops, let's go ahead and right click this and open up the piano roll. And then we're going to go ahead and go to this little piano roll options, hit edit, paste. Darcy Elise. Oh, okay. That's a beautiful name. Big congratulations, Scribble, man. Happy for you. Welcome to the life. All right. So you notice it's like a lot, like pretty loud, I guess, and buzzy. But the whole point of what we're going to do here is we're going to make it sound a little bit better. And what I think right now is we need to go ahead and add a lower kind of a tone to it. So we will bring one of these down to a 12. Let's bring the second one down to a 12 as well. Third. All right, that's pretty good. And then what we'll do here is we're going to take these two that are upper portions and we're going to just detune them, stereo detune them. So I'm going to bring this up about 15, 20 cents. Bring this one down about 15, 20 cents. And then we'll take this phase randomness knob and we'll bring it up to about 25, 30%. And then you can like hear it before and after if you wanted to. And this kind of just makes it a little bit more stereo, and it widens the sound out a little bit. In the beginning, it was a little bit thin. We just gave it a little bit more width, okay? But that's about all we're going to do right now, starting out with the, the design controls. We're going to go ahead and go to our envelope settings, all right? And we're going to go to this filter knob right over here, and we're going to turn it down to about, maybe about 50%. Let's hear how it sounds. Good. And then now we're going to go to our, well, we can actually do our volume envelope. We're going to click that volume envelope right here, and we're going to adjust the ADSR, which is the attack, decay, sustain, release. Hold isn't mentioned, but we adjust that as well. This is just basically shaping how the sound is introduced into the world, and how it leaves. So we're going to take the attack and we're going to bring it all the way down. We're going to take this hold knob and we're going to bring it all the way down. And then we're going to take the sustain knob and we're going to bring that all the way down. And we're going to mess with just the decay and the release knob, all right? Take your decay and we're going to bring it down as well to maybe about like 30 to 40%. And that can be adjusted completely dependent on your ear. Use your ear here to judge these kind of movements. These are just kind of ones that I know are pretty decent. But usually you're going to hit play and you'll hear it, okay? We can turn off our metronome. It's a little loud for us, and we can actually increase the channel volume too. That way you can hear it a little bit better. And we're going to take this decay tension knob, and we're going to turn it down a little bit like that. So somewhere till it sounds about similar to that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it close and till it sounds good. Like that sounds pretty good to you, right? So after we have that going, now we're going to go ahead and go to our mod X. And what we'll do is we'll basically do the same thing. But first thing you have to do is activate your envelope. And we'll do the same thing here by turning the attack down, turning off the hold, turning off the sustain, and then we'll bring the amount knob up here to about maybe 25%. And we'll bring a decay down just a little bit more here, and we'll mess with this tension until it sounds right as well. More amount maybe. All right, that's pretty good. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, just do it till it sounds good to your ear. I'm going to do what sounds good to me, but you're more than welcome to play around with this until you get the sound that you're looking for. Once you found the sound you're looking for, we'll pretend that is our sound. We're going to actually do something a little different, and we're going to go to this little Tools, Miscellaneous Functions tabs right here, and we're going to actually create the chords, the chord pluck sound via the Arpeggiator tab. All right. So the most important thing here that we'll do is make sure that our time is on 3. And you can see that by looking above while you're moving it or looking below at the little hint bar. I have mine at the bottom, but you can see here that it's on 3 and it'll snap. It kind of stops you, keeps you from doing it. So we're going to snap it on 3. And then we're going to go down to this little drop down where it says arpeggio chord, and we're going to take that and we're going to select none. After that, we'll take this little arpeggio direction, and I don't think it matters, but we'll just do the first one. But either way, if we had like maybe 2 ranges or 3 ranges going, it alternates the direction of how it's going. But right now, we're going to leave that at 1, and we're going to hit play and see how this sounds. So you see, it kind of give you that little riff, that rhythm or riff sound. That is what we're looking for here, basically. And what we'll do is we'll trim the release of it by using this gate function. And it really didn't do much besides give it more release. So you can actually go here and you can do a little bit more editing with your parameters, which we'll do just a little bit more, just so it's not so spiky, I guess. All right, so basically though, you're always going to be messing with your mod X knob, these little envelopes, and you're going to be going back and forth until you get that sound just how you want. So this is how sound design kind of works at its fundamental basis. But this is good enough for what we're trying to accomplish, and that is make a nice little chord. Good. And then you can turn on the metronome in here and beat. Good. So what we'll do here is we'll make sure that this little green select this green light is selected on chords. We're going to go to the channel options, and we're going to go to actually we're not going to do that. We're going to go right click on chords and just go to copy, and then we're going to go down to pads and you're going to hit paste. Good. So now what you'll do is make sure this piano roll is closed here, and then we're going to go ahead and open up our piano roll on the pad, and you can just click on the piano roll itself on the pad and it opens it up, or you can just make sure that your green select is highlighted on the right one, and you can click, oops, not that one, click the piano roll right there. Okay, so we're on the piano roll for the pads, and then what we'll do here is make our pad sound, and we'll kind of do it the same way we've kind of been doing it beforehand, where we'll just make it a couple of 3 sols, but what we'll do is we'll make the top one a square, right? And we're going to detune it here a little bit differently. So remember how we went up and down, we'll go down and up. Good. And then we'll turn on the fade red on this, but we're going to turn this up a lot higher, like 50 to 70%. And we're going to go ahead and turn these mix levels on. Very good. And we'll go ahead and turn this down a little bit. And if this isn't showing, click this little cog right here. This is detailed settings, and then we can mess with the volume and all that stuff here. And then we'll just take this up a little bit. So we'll turn this on 12 too. And in fact, we'll soften this by making these triangles. So I'll make this a triangle. And then we'll make this top one a sine. And we can click this, why not? It really turns this into what like increases the volume, but it's fine. And we can mute too for now. We can turn off our metronome, and we can hit play to kind of mess with this more in depth. Okay, good. What we'll do here is we'll turn the volume envelope on, and what we'll do is we'll just make sure it has a good release time on it, and we're not going to actually decay it out like the plug. We're going to actually let it have a little bit of a buildup because it's a pad, so it's okay that it kind of comes in slowly. But we want it to kind of release out slowly as well. So we'll listen to it with the envelope activated. And what I want to do is I want to take this hold knob, and we'll just turn it up a little bit. And we'll take the sustain knob and we'll turn it up a little bit too to like 50. We'll do 50-50. And then we'll take the release and we'll actually turn it up a little bit too, so it kind of blends into the attack when it comes back in. Good. Now what we'll do is we'll change the filter type here to just what's called a low pass, a 12 dB low pass. And then we're going to take the filter frequency itself and we're going to turn it down to about 50. Good. Now let's hear it with the chords. Good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to open up, we're going to close out of this for now. And there's some more we could do. You can absolutely turn on these envelopes here, and you can maybe slowly bring in the modulation, for example. So really understanding ADSR, attack, decay, sustain, and release is your golden ticket to understanding how to design sound. And pretty much any any sound that basically has a way it's shaped with an envelope. So kind of understanding and doing this repeatedly will give you more kind of comfort, and you'll be more used to working with these kind of envelopes because you're going to have to work with them in a lot of places. Okay. So we'll close out of this for now, and we're going to go ahead and open up our ARP, which is going to be this. And we'll make this one a square, and we'll make it just one square. So we'll make sure these are off, and they are. And then we'll put this, leave this at 24. That's okay. But we're going to go ahead and open our detailed settings, and we will turn on the envelope, and we'll turn down the attack. We'll turn down the hold. We'll turn down the decay. And we'll turn down the decay tension. So it's almost like we're making another pluck, okay? So if you've never made a pluck before, or like if you remember how we just made the pluck or the chords, it's going to be kind of made in the same fashion. A real sharp kind of decay and a lot of tension. We could turn it down a little bit here, but we still actually want it even more. So we'll bring the decay back a little bit, turn it down a little bit more. Good, a little bit like that, kind of almost lippy, you know. And then you can give it a little bit more release. And then I'll just turn the sustain up to like 10. That way it kind of like gives the release time to see. This sustains all the way down. And sometimes it cuts off, the decay will cut off the release. So sustain might help a little bit. But we don't need much. We're going to take the filter frequency down to about maybe some black metal will help with your boredom. All right, well, I hope so. Sorry it's not entertaining here. I'm sure this is, yeah, you know all this stuff already, emo, but hey, there's other people here that don't, and they need this info. So hopefully this helps the ones that do. And then what we'll do here is we'll go to our mod X, and we'll turn the envelope on as well. We'll turn the amount up to about maybe 30%, and we'll bring the attack down. And we'll bring the hold down, we'll bring the decay down, we'll bring the sustain down, and we'll bring the release down. Just bring it all down just a little bit here, and we'll bring the tension knob in as well. Without. With. See, it kind of sharpens that upper end a little bit, makes it sound a little bit better. But this is pretty good, but we'll take this mod X, we'll turn it down to about maybe 30%. And we'll turn this mod Y down. I might have, we'll actually give it like 5%. That's actually okay. 5% is fine. Okay, good. Good. Now we're going to go to the miscellaneous functions tabs, and there's a thing called echo, delay, and fat mode. That's what we're going to actually use this time. We're not actually going to use an arpeggiator. We're going to actually create some random arps. Okay. And we're going to let kind of the universe decide where they land, sort of kind of how it feels. So we'll make sure ping pong is on, so the panning will indeed bounce. 3 should be fine, but if 3 is too much, try 4. If 4 isn't good, try 2. Okay, or 1. 1, 2, 3, or 4. Any one of those are good, but we're going to stick with 3, and we're going to take this pitch knob and we're going to turn it up to 12. We're going to take the feedback and we're going to turn it to about 50. And then what we'll do here is we'll take this coarse pitch and we'll turn it down to actually 12. Good. Now what I'll do is we'll play this out, and we're actually going to just add some notes randomly. And this is the key here. I want you to kind of be random. So this is the part where your tracks should probably sound completely different, you know. But we're going to hit play. And you're just going to follow. You're going to follow what's already there. You can follow this. You can do your melodies. Something random here, and we'll just see how this goes. But if you want to kind of see what I just put in, that's fine. If you want to follow what I put in, that's fine too. So you had a second here. But we'll use that. All right, good. And then what we'll do here is add our bass, which is going to be our final sound design piece. So let's go ahead and take this bass right here, and we'll open it up, and we will let's close that one. And what we're going to do is just, hey, we'll just maybe use just 1, and we'll turn this 1 down to 0 right here, and let's play, and we'll I'll bring them down. Yeah, we'll just make it kind of a sine, and then what we'll do is we'll add a like a little a saw on top. Yeah, a little bit, just so you can barely hear. We don't want phase randomness though. All right, and then what we'll do here is we'll open that detailed settings like that, and then we're going to go to our envelope instrument settings, and we're going to turn on our envelope where it says use envelope. We'll take this attack down, turn the release down to about maybe 5 to 10%. And we'll take our filter frequency and we're going to turn it down to about 50%. Good. And then we're going to go to our mod, and we'll turn the envelope on, and we're going to turn the envelope on about maybe 10 to 15%. The envelope amount. Turn the attack all the way down. And then let's turn the hold down. Let's turn the decay down. Let's turn the sustain down. And release and decay down. Oh no. That's because I was hitting buttons. All right. And then let's take this tension knob and we'll turn it down to about 25%. And we'll turn the amount up to about like 40 to 50. And we'll take the decay to about 70, 75. Good. Now what we'll do is we'll actually manually input the bass notes here for our track, and what we'll do is we'll just follow along with the notes, but we're going to put it on every other kind of hit. So how it's 1 here, what we'll do is we'll just drag this out to where it's 3, and then we will just kind of do every other one, but the very last one we'll take this one down 1, and then we'll add 1. Okay, so if that didn't make sense, just make sure you have a paintbrush here first that is clicked on your paintbrush, or you hit P, and then you just click, drag, and then once you do that, you can click it again and it'll save that note information. You can just kind of add it. Okay, so we're going to add the A, and then we're going to control click and drag over the entirety of this little section we have. You can hit hold control here and roll down on your mouse wheel. Good. And then hold shift and then click and drag, and then we'll bring this over to where the bass note is here. Good. And then we'll hold shift again, click and drag, and we'll bring this one to where the bass comes up here again. Good. And then remember our bass note I think went up here, so we'll shift, click and drag, and we'll bring that one up here. which we will edit it if we have to. Now we'll control click and drag over the entire thing, and we'll keep holding control down on your keyboard and hit down on it on the keyboard as well. And that's gonna move it down an octave. So you can hit control, and then now you can click anywhere on the playlist to unselect everything. Let's go ahead and hear this. All right, that's probably too low, so we'll just hit control and go up one more. And then that bass note that goes high, we'll control click and drag over that, and we'll hit control down on the keyboard so that it goes down instead of up. And then now that we have our MIDI notes laid out to where they should be at, I'm going to go ahead and hit Control A to select everything. And then we'll roll in this a little bit, and we'll take this, and what we'll do is we'll just bring these back one. Good. And then let's hear our keys. So we're kind of getting somewhere. It's like, well, it's all over the place now. Well, that's because we're having quite put everything in the right place yet. So we need to kind of pan things around. And what we'll do actually is, what I want you to do is take this keys, right click it, and you're gonna go clone. Good. And then what we'll do is we'll go up here, and we just want to take these top notes here. We're gonna control click and drag over all of them. And then we're going to go Control X on the keyboard, or you can go down here to File, Edit, Copy, or Cut. And then come over here, right click, open up the piano roll, File, Edit, Paste. Okay. And then we're going to mute this one, and we just kind of want to hear the melody itself. Good. So we're going to pan these out. So melodies you can pan wherever you like, but we don't want to keep everything in the center. So use your ears here. I'm going to pan my chords a little bit to the left, pan my pads a little bit to the right, pan my arps a little bit more to the left, maybe by 15, and pan my keys a little bit more to the right. Good. And then you can come over here to your playlist by just clicking this button up here, or just hitting F5, I believe. Yeah, F5 on your keyboard. And you can kind of draw out here, and you can kind of see how it looks. You can click anywhere and look, and you can see that it's that's how our song is already kind of laid out, all of it together at once. But we can't really do much and make the entire song with it like that. So we still need to do a little bit more work here with separating these all into their own channels. Now there's a really fast way we're going to do this here. And now in fact, before we do that, let's go ahead and rename this. And we're going to put a dash melody on it. Good. That way, when we do this next option, which there is no going back, so make sure you have your concept kind of already sort of going before you do this. But what we're going to do here now is go ahead and paint this pattern right here on our start. And you can just click anywhere here, and it'll paint it, and just click and drag and make sure that it's lined up with start using these grid lines. And then we're going to go ahead and right click our pattern selector. It doesn't matter what the name is of it now. I'm going to right click it up top here, and it'll say split by channel in this drop down menu somewhere. So find that and click it. And now we've just separated all those sounds we made into their own individual channels. So you can double click now, and you can look at the piano roll, or you can look at here, and you see that there's no other information. It's just that. But they're all stacked on top of each other. So all you need to do is just kind of pull these down to the proper places by just clicking and dragging, so that bass matches with bass, keys match with keys, and we can move keys over here. Melody, we can move melody over here as well, and we can bring chords down here, keys here, and what we'll do is we'll right click chords, and we'll click insert one, and we'll take this keys and we'll drag it right here. And in fact, the melody is what we added that was new. So keys go right here, and we're going to bring this down and make this melody. So we'll middle click here, and we'll rename this keys melody. Good. Now everything looks like it's already matched, but in case they're not here, you can right click these and hit C and it'll auto name whatever is laid out. And then now we have a little bit of a layout now. So we're looking pretty good, and now we can do ahead and start a little bit of an arrangement. But before we do that, let's go ahead and add a drums. How we're going to do that here, we're going to just pick some nice pretty ones. Here's some pretty ones from Mode Audio. Something not too crazy. That might work. And what we'll do here is click the new pattern. We'll name it Click Kick. I'm going to go ahead and drag this kick over underneath. You just click and hold and drag, and good. And what I'll do is make a filter group for this. So we'll in order to do that, I usually hit Alt G on the keyboard, or you can just go here and go Group Selected, and then you can just call this Drums, and this will be where we add all of our drums. Okay, so we'll add a drum. We'll add a hi-hat. This works. We'll add 2 hi-hats. Like an open hat. And then we'll add a clap. Yep, you never know with claps, but just find one that you like. Here, you can use whatever you like. I always just kind of just choose something. And let's just find like a little percussive sound. How about a wood block? A wood block. So good. We got about a few instruments in here. And what we can do is just go ahead and do what we did earlier, which is click and drag on all these. Open up your mixer by hitting F9. And then we'll start on pattern 6. Right click, channel routing. Start from this track. Good. And then what we're going to do now is on our mixer, we will go into mixer 12. We'll right click, rename it. We'll just call it drums. We're going to give it a color. Good. And then we're going to control click and drag on 6 through 9. Right click on this little arrow. And let me bring this up just in case. Right click on this arrow and click route to this track only. Good. Now any of the drums that we play, they're gonna come off. Oh, that's on 10, which is over there, the reverb. We'll just put that on 13. That was my fault. And then you can hold shift and roll up on your mouse wheel to move it in behind this. Now what we'll do is we'll control click and drag over all these. Right click, change color. Give it the last previously used color. And this will make it so that way the drums are all the same color, okay? And now it's important that you always have everything to a mixer track as fast as possible. So if you can help it, try to get things on a mixer track. It doesn't even matter if you use it. You don't even have to use it. Just start getting to the habit, okay? So now we're pretty much set up. This is pretty much how your mixer track is going to be set up. And now you can do some work. But we're going to go ahead and make a quick little drum loop. And we can use basically just the drum and the chords to build us a little drum loop here. And we'll make sure kick is selected. You can right click this and then make sure click is selected. And then you just click and drag these little 4. And what we'll do is we'll go all across to 8. And then we'll control click and drag over all these. Hold shift, click and drag this across to make a copy. Good. Now we're going to double click start. Good. and it's going to keep this little constrained in this little time right here. So we'll control click and click away from this. And then we'll right click our kick track and we'll hit C to recolor it and all pretty. Now let's go to our kick and we're going to go ahead and right click our kick pattern, which is house gen kick, and we're going to fill every 4 steps. Now let's hit play and listen. All right, what we're going to do here is, this might not actually be a good one. Okay, this one actually might be better even with it. So what we'll do here is we're going to fade this kick out a little bit. Okay, let's just go with that one. We'll fade this kick out right here a little bit. Tell us a little bit tighter. So like, it'll be like, this is like really loose and boomy. We're just going to tighten it up. So this tightens it a little bit, okay? Yeah, we'll just tighten it up for now. And then, okay, now we will add a clap. So you can select a new pattern, hit OK. You can do it all on one, or you can do it individually. Just kind of however you like to approach it your way. But same thing, lay it across, right click, hit C, double click the clap. Let's go ahead and add one on the 2 and the 4. And we'll take the pitch and we'll turn it up. Good, and we'll take the quick fade out and turn that up too. Not too much though. Good. Now let's add some hats. So hit the plus button, hit OK. And we will click and draw these out here, like so. Right click hats, auto name clips, double click your hats, find your hats and draw you a pattern. And we're going to do the 1 ands. So we'll put it on all the ands, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So we'll put it on those. Good. And then we're going to click this little thing that says graph editor, and we're going to change the velocity of these notes a little bit. I want you to be very personal with how you want to do them. It's up to you. Use your ear. But after you find a good place for your velocity of your notes, close it out. And then where it says O hat, we're going to add one here at the end as well. Good. And we're going to go ahead and give these a pan to the left. And I'm going to turn the open hat down to about 50% maybe. And these will all change when the mix starts playing. We're going to fade out a little bit and fade in a little bit. Good. And then we have a crash. So let's find a crash. Perfect. Click and drag that into your crash. Right click crash, auto name clips, so it names it crash for you. Double click crash, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this on a mixer track. So it says assign free mixer track, and you see how it's 3 dots. That means it's not linked to anything. So click that, and it's going to automatically throw us onto a mixer track, and that's what we want. And we can go ahead and put the crash. We can go ahead and route it to the drums only. And it's fine that it sticks out there. That's not a big deal. What we're going to do is go ahead and turn the fade in down. Turn the fade out up. Oh. And then we'll take the volume down a little bit. Good. And that should be pretty much all we need. We'll take the pitch and we'll turn up the pitch 2 cents. There you go. Now we'll close out of that. And let's hear this all in tandem. Oops. Good, it's not bad, but what we'll do is we'll turn this kick up a little bit. So I'm just going to take this effects target, take the boost, and And we'll turn our crash down a lot more, about 30%. There we go. And then what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to erase all these hats but 2. And we're going to control click and drag over 2 of them. And I'm going to hit control G, which is going to group them together. All right. And we can double click it after this and go to our channel rack. And you see now that we have, if you just scroll over, you can either scroll over like this, or you can just pull it out like so. However, whatever real estate you have. And you see what I want to do here is just take this one hi-hat that hits in the middle out, and we save it just for the end. And then we're going to go ahead and turn the main swing of this entire track up to about 15 to 20%. And then I want to turn my volume of my hats down a little bit, okay? So we'll hit play again. Oh, and we need to draw these out, sorry. Redraw these out. Good. Now what we'll do here is we want our crash to be more something. So I'm going to try to use the inbuilt reverb function here to see if we can make it really more. Not enough, you know. So let's go ahead and go and well, I'm not even going to worry about it yet at the moment. Let's just go ahead and get this arranged, and then we'll worry about the mix, okay? So we can go ahead and unmute our keys, and now we have basically the start of your arrangement. This is pretty much all to get you going to create the track. And this is not even, no mixing required or anything at this point. You just make sure they're on a mixer, and you make sure the volumes of them all sound good, okay? So what we're going to do is go ahead and give this an arrangement by right-clicking the start. Let's call this intro. And we could let that call this the beat. We could right-click this, call it a verse, maybe a chorus, and these could all change, but just, you know, for now, to kind of get you wrapped around what's going to happen. And then we know this is going to be an outro, and then we know this is going to be, I don't know, we'll just say a chorus B, right? Yeah. All right. So now we have kind of a little arrangement set up, and like I said, you can always change this. This is nothing in stone, but this gives us something to work with. So now I'm going to take all these, and we're just going to move them. Hold shift so you don't go up or down on accident. Just hold shift while you move them. And we're going to take this and we're going to move this to where we think the busiest part of our track is going to be, which I believe is going to be right here. Okay. So I'm going to take that too, and I'm going to duplicate it where chorus B is going to be at as well. Good. And then actually, you know what? This is good. This is good. Now what I'll do here is we'll just take pieces and we'll craft our beat, you know, craft our song. So we're going to introduce it here with the keys and the melody. So I'm just going to hold shift and click. Well, first control click and drag over these four. Hold shift, click and drag. And then let's go ahead and just start this into the intro. And we just have our piano muted. So let's just unmute our piano now. It's back in business. And now, since we're going to get a little bit more into the arrangement here, let's take this piano here, or highlight all these notes in the piano, hit Alt-R on your keyboard, and this is going to randomize the volume of each individual note to make it sound a little bit more humanistic. So you can just kind of hit the seed button a few times, hit accept, and then we're going to hit Alt on the keyboard, hold Alt on the keyboard, and we're going to roll up a little bit to turn it up just a little bit, okay? Good. So that's our intro, and then what you'll do is we're gonna I just copied and pasted, basically I just copied all these drums over. We're gonna take our drum information and you just kind of piece it in over time, so you can kind of erase all the bits here and sort of start leading it up into, well, the song until we get to our thing. So how do you want your beat to start? You know, do you want it to start with just the bass? Do you just want it to start with some arps? You know, be as creative with your decision making here, because this is all your, basically now you have tools to work with, pieces to paint with, okay? So we're going to do my version since you're watching me, but when you do this, I want you to do your version. Okay, I want you to arrange it your way, and how you want to introduce your elements. So don't necessarily introduce the elements the same way that I'm introducing the elements. I want you to bring in the elements the way you want to bring in the elements. Okay, because at the end of the day, it is your music, and you're learning how to do this, but you don't have to follow it T to T. But if you're very new, follow this as best you can, and then go back on your own and do your own. Okay, that's how you really learn it. So I'm going to start with, well, let's start with the ARPs since they're one of my favorites. I'm going to shift click and drag my ARPs over here like this, and then we'll bring the pads in next. So I'll shift click and drag my pads in next like this. So then the keys come in, and then the ARPs come in, and then the verse will be with the chords, and the bass line comes in here, and yeah, and then so we can start listening and playing as we go. Good. And it's like, it's short, but it's to the point, and this is exactly what you want in the beginning. So I'm going to take the beat part, and I'm going to shift click and drag this over here. And this will be kind of how the outro is going to go. We'll take and we'll drag it out a couple of spaces here. And this will be basically our arrangement. Like, you don't have to get it more complicated than this, because at a certain point you're gonna be adding and taking away stuff anyways. So don't stress about like things being perfect. But what we're gonna do is at the end of our eights, we're gonna make sure the drums aren't always going. So maybe when it hits the chorus, yeah, we take some stuff off. So at the end of your eights, so right before your next little bit comes in, do things like delete your kicks. Try different little ways to, well, basically transition your song, so it's not just playing the same thing over and over. Like, even with all this information, there's still a ton of stuff we can do. Okay, so like, you don't give up really, and the whole point is you just gotta systematically work your way through these processes so you can get better at doing the more creative stuff in between as well. Good. So what I'm going to do here is we're going to go ahead and go to our mixer, and we're going to give this a little bit of a mix. And the whole thing here is you just want to make sure your kick and bass are basically in the right place. All right. So we're going to go to the busiest part of our mix, which is the chorus. And we're going to go ahead and remix everything. And how do you do that? Well, you just bring everything down and start over from scratch, more than trying to like already redo it, because your ears are going to be very biased and the volumes aren't going to be accurate. Oh, that's the pre-master. And I think one of these is just drums. Yeah. Good. Okay, good. So it should be empty. Good. Now start bringing your kick first. Let's go for a -12 peak. Good. Bass. Good. Let's mono our kick by clicking this little stereo separation and turning it all over to the right. Good. Bring in your next important element, whatever that is for you. So you see our mixing target is -6. We don't want to go past -6, all right? So if you don't go past -6, that's basically your mixing target is good. And if there's a problem, it's not really like everything's too high. It's more like probably muddiness or, you know, like frequency balances or crashes. But your target's always going to be around from about -9 to about -6 is about where you want to aim. And then you can go either higher or lower depending on whatever specific label or whatever specific company asks you to do, okay? So yeah, nothing about the track is basically going past 6. So this is a decent mix. Now, it might not be perfect. Of course, it can be better. We're not worried about all that stuff right now. All we care about is just basically all the volume's good. We're making a song. We're learning how to do it all. So don't get overwhelmed with all these other things that you can do. Just keep yourself to what you know and keep it simple, okay? Don't try to go over too many things that you can't do yet. Otherwise, you will be lost in the sauce. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do a couple more things before this is a completed track pretty much. And then there's going to be one more bonus thing that I will do that will I will let you do on your own, and I will just post up what I do, okay? So first thing we're going to do is we're going to find this crash here. We're going to shift click and drag it over to the side. Anywhere is fine. Click this little arrow next to it and we're going to make it unique. Very good. And then double click it again and then click the reverse tab on it, the reverse button. This opens up the sampler window here, and we'll just take the in and out knobs and we're kind of reversing the way they look beforehand, okay? Good. Now, go ahead and make sure your stretch button is not on, but off. Take this and you squeeze it on down here, and we're just going to give it so it's like probably about right there, all right? And then highlight the whole thing again, hit Control Q and Shift Q to make sure it's quantized to the grid. So that way you're not like too far off. And then take this here and let's just go ahead and put this back up against our other crash. And you see how there's a little space going on in here? If you hold Alt on your keyboard and then you just click and then you just drag it to the right a little bit until they connect, that's how you can solve that issue. But there's also another issue you could do where you can simply just chop the tail off. So sort of like, let's quantize it to the right here, right? Now we just chopped this little tail of no information off, and now it's going to be perfectly on that line, so you can just snap it anywhere. All right. Oh, we forgot the crashes. Maybe we'll turn the in knob up a little bit here. There you go. And then we're just going to go ahead and make sure those are behind all of our crashes. Now, next important thing here is going to be EQ. So you're going to go, we're going to go to the mixer. We're going to open up a parametric EQ2. And we're going to give this a little bit of some EQ. So we're going to run the low end out of this. Good. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and add some reverb to all this. So we're going to go to the delay reverbs, whatever. Open up a reverb 2, wherever your reverb 2 is located at. Mine's customly named, so I don't know how it looks on your screen anymore. But we'll turn the wet knob all the way up by middle clicking the wet knob. Take the dry and yoink it all the way down. Take the decay, and we're going to turn this decay up to maybe about 10 seconds for now. And take your dampening knob and turn that to about 10. And these are all like, you can edit them and move them as you wish. We can turn the size up a little bit, and I think that's going to be good. Let's go ahead and hear how it sounds by taking any sound that you want to have a little bit of reverb to, and you just click this little button underneath where it says Enable Send, and this will send the sound to the reverb. And we'll turn it down to about 25%, and you turn it up or down depending on how you feel it's sounding to you. And the same thing, we're going to open up an EQ on all these. So everything needs an EQ, and your job is going to be to EQ them, because EQ is something that is different for everybody, and the only way you get good at EQing is by doing it. So that will be your homework for this track, is open up an EQ on all of these and give them a mix. Okay, and I will give it my own EQ, and I want you to give it your own EQ. As well. Now, not only do you EQ every drum, you can also EQ the entire drums itself. So put EQs on everything here, which is equalizers, and go ahead and give it go ahead and trim out all the nasty bits that don't apply. So go to your most busiest part. Right. And everything gets a little bit of EQ, okay? So basically though, this is how the mixing process kind of goes. You just go through each sound, and yes, each sound needs to be taken care of. And what you do is basically when you open up your EQ, and if you don't know anything about equalizing or anything, my previous video, I kind of talk a lot more in depth of it, but we can kind of rehash it here, because one of the most important things to equalize will be your kick, okay? And you can solo out your kick by itself by just right-clicking on this little mute solo light. Open up your mixer here, hit play. And you can really kind of fine-tune your kick by going too far and bringing it back to what sounds good. And then take a little bit out your mids. And then just boost the bass a little bit. Good. And use your ears here and constantly turn your music back on. So what we're doing basically is just finding little spots here that we don't want. Good. Now we take our limiter. Turn it up a little bit here to about max, and you basically have a song that's created. Now this is a simple version, and there's some more things you can do here to make this even pop even more, which I call the creme de la creme, you know. But what you can do is you can filter these, okay? And we haven't talked too much about filters, but things that can be filtered, well, you can do all kinds of cool stuff. So we can double click these pads. You can go to these little mod frequency knobs, right click them, and create automation clips. And I really didn't want to get too much into automation clips because they can be kind of confusing if you're not used to even using this. So we're not going to worry too much about how automation clips are going, but we will automate, well, our pad, okay? And you just right click and you click the automation clip, and this little thing pops up. And then you right click anywhere on here to create a point. We'll drag this point down in the beginning, and then we'll drag it up to about where it was at in the verse. And then we'll go down to the end, make a point there, and then make a point at the end and drag it all the way down. And it'll filter the pad in. And we can go ahead and do the same thing for the ARPs. So we'll right click, create automation clip. And it might put it way down here. You can hold shift and roll up until it meets together. I like to keep mine close, but do the same thing here. Make a point here, make a point there. Anywhere, it doesn't matter. Same thing at the end, make a point out there and make a point down here. You see, like now it's starting to sound so much more different, like more like of a you know, like it's kind of introducing itself a little bit. So now let's go ahead and right click our chords, go to our chords, right click the filter and create automation clip as well. And then where are our chords? Oh, they put them way down there. It's okay, we can roll it up till it meets. And then we can do the same. We can just, when they come in, bring it in. And then when it's done, fade it out. I mean, we could even change our chords a little bit more if we wanted to, you know, like. You just kind of do what you want there, you know. We can kind of mess around with it as much as you want, but now you know this is where you go back and forth. Editing matters. You know, do you want verb on your pads and your chords? You know, all these kind of things kind of matter, so just use your best discretion. But this, my friends, is a song, and you are more than welcome to tear the song apart. You're more than welcome to ask any questions you have about how to create this genre. If there's anything that I glossed over or I went too fast on, ask me, timestamp in the comments, or just reach out to me in the Discord. Join me on Discord, zafer.com/Discord, and I will answer any questions you may have about producing. And if I don't have the answers, I'm pretty sure somebody in there does, or I promise I will find the answer for you. I will find you the resource. Whatever that I've used to figure it out, I will tell you. So, you know, thank you so much for hanging out and watching. Thank you for listening to the video. If you did find any value from this, please leave me a comment, like the video, subscribe. If you're following me, turn on the notifications so you get notified next time that I go live. And this can help you get better on your journey. And also maybe I can give you some support and love along the way. I'm wishing you all a beautiful day, lots of positivity and happiness. We will be back again with another video soon. But till then, I hope you stay positive. Thank you, everybody.